Hello there, welcome to another episode of World of Tanks on Ungainly Titan. We're here on Pearl River, and I'm in the T-30. Just thought this battle would be amusing for a couple of different reasons. It's the T-30 with the second last gun. It's not got the final gun. I have unlocked the final gun since, and I'm currently playing the T-30 with the top gun, which I think is a 150mm gun, but this is the 120mm gun. The same one, I think, that's in the M103 and similar to the one on the Conqueror and the Tortoise. Very similar performance and penetration and so on and so forth. So what's the M103 like now that I've played it for a while? Well, it's a solid, reliable tank, but it's relatively unexciting. I'm sure there are people out there who have really, really good games. In fact, there must be people out there having really, really good games on the T-30, because it's quite difficult to get mastery badges and stuff like that with it, because well, I haven't got one. I don't think I have had anything better than a first class mastery yet in this tank. It's a bit like the Borsig in the sense that you have a tank that will perform solidly, in the sense that it's relatively easy to get your fire for effect. And if you have a really good game, you can potentially do quite large amounts of damage, particularly with the top gun. Now, this gun not so much. I was tendency to play it like a heavy tank, and I was probably also being too much of a heavy tank in it. It's not really a heavy tank. It's essentially a tier 8 chassis. The turret is a bit better, but it doesn't quite have enough hit points, is the real problem. It's not the best at bouncing shots, but it will do so, particularly if you can get it hold down. But it isn't. It doesn't quite have enough hit points. There's inevitably things that are going to penetrate the front of it, and you find then that you just run out of hit points, because you don't have the hit points of a heavy tank. You've got the hit points of a tank destroyer. So the 120mm gun fires about every 8 seconds or so and does around, what, 400 points of damage or thereabouts. But the top gun does about as far as once every 20 seconds. Well, I have it down to 17.3. But that is because I have, rammers and crew skills, and I'm not sure, do I run food? Don't think I'm running food at the moment. I'm trying to minimize my running of stuff like that, because I actually want to minimize my silver consumption, but at the same time I want the tanks to be effective. There is a decent enough crew, but it's not my best tier 9 crew of the other tier 9 tanks that I'm running. In fact, even the crew on the E75 have more skills. So this tank, we're basically holding up here at the corner. I don't like pushing in, particularly when you're outnumbered, because if you push in, there's more places for the enemy to shoot you from, so there's much greater risk if you're in the centre of getting caught in a crossfire. And the third thing is just what happened there. The artillery, once you're across the threshold of this entrance, the artillery can get at you from pretty much every location beyond this point. And your own artillery can only really support you beyond that rock there in the centre where the 4 passageways meet. It's because at this point the firing arc is too slow. However, when you're back out here, where I am now, your own artillery can support you quite well. Now, that's what I should be doing with a T-57, is putting shots through the turret cheeks. In the moment of time, I don't do it that well. Now, I do have kind of a dodgy internet as well, like there's a little bit of a delay between pulling the trigger and the gun going off as well, which won't be apparent from watching the video, but it was the case at the time. However, the Japanese Super Hazy determined to push the fight, and I suppose if you know the T-57 has emptied the clip, then yes, you can push the fight. But you do have that light tank, and you do have artillery to worry about, and the light tank isn't trivial. However, the eastern side's broken through, our guys have broken through. We have a light tank and a tank destroyer on the other side, and artillery's been taken out because they had to make a run for it, and they basically left it too long. And they don't see much. It was a heavy tank, I think, showed up. But there's not much visible on the other side, on the enemy base side. So I'm thinking, well, the remaining enemy tanks then must be around our base. And there's at least 3 of them there. There's one. So there's a couple of tanks unaccounted for. Well, here's the RU-251. We've put a round into him, and I have pretty good track and repair skills in this tank, so we take him out. And then I decide to go for the village. There's probably a tank lurking in the village trying to get flanking shots onto our defense of our base. And sure enough, here he is. There's an E50, quite a formidable tank. I'm not sure it's the E50 or the E50 or both that have been nerfed. Been a lot of tanks nerfed in the new update. A lot of people are rather upset about it. However, I'm going to talk about that later. Now, I thought if I pinned the tank against the building that it wouldn't, the physics recovery would be stopped from working. But it turns out it's not the case. So what's happened there is that the E50, the physics recovery mechanism kicked in to straighten the tank, and the E50 was launched into the air to get it out of the grip that I had pinned it into the building, and it landed on top of my tank. So we can see it here from a better angle. So I've come up beside it, I'm putting rounds through the turret roof, and I'm trying to pin it into location. But it turns out that this does not work. And the tank springs up into the air, lands on top of my turret roof, and starts removing hit points from the weight, crushing down on my turret roof. Now, he lost more hit points, so I probably got the kill. But the lesson of this is not to pin a tank that is capsized against the wall or another obstacle, because it won't stop them from self-righting. They'll self-right on top of you and then they'll kill you, and this is probably not something you want to do. So we got a second class mastery out of that. We got over 2k damage and over a k assisted damage. Didn't damage or spot a whole lot of enemy tanks, but I suppose we got enough of it to make it work. And we give the AMX, 13105 a bit of a shock too, because he actually stopped to see what had happened after the E50 bounced up on top of my tank and killed me. So we came number 1 by experience, did a decent amount of damage, though not the best in the team by a long shot. We came in the top 5 as 5th, but quite a few tanks actually did more damage than us. I think the assisted damage is what tipped us over the top and into the top experience slot. So anyway, I hope you found the video interesting. And if you did, please like and share the video. If you have not already done so, please subscribe. I will catch you all again soon. Bye for now.